NIMBYs are stopping housing. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because this evening I want to look at an article just discussing an example of not in my backyard. NIMBYs are an interesting phenomenon, particularly when you see them as they become the Greens housing, not minister or representative, protesting development and yet complaining about affordable housing. You can't have it both ways. This is the thing. And I think a lot of them are like that. A viewer made an interesting comment on one of my other videos about NIMBYs, that they're very tribalistic and they can have conflicting opinions. You know, when it's at their individual property and area, they want to keep it their way. But then they can argue for, the poor kids can't afford a house or can't afford to live near here or this, that, and the other. So let's have a look at a clear example of NIMBYism, not in my backyard. So, Dunsborough locals rally West Australian Planning Minister Rita Saffioti to limit building heights. Okay, they want to limit building heights. There you go. And you may think, oh, well, that's good. You don't want too many high buildings. Well, if you want affordable housing, sometimes that's multi-story apartment buildings. It's a good starter home for people. Could be, rather than someone buying a house and leaving it empty as a holiday home or renting it out as an Airbnb, it could be an apartment. So you've got to realize that world changes and it's going to change around you. So where are we looking at here? Let's jump over to the Google Pro, and you can see it's in Western Australia. Here it is down here, right down the bottom. And it's a little seaside town. And look, I mean, they've got a golf course right here, or nice housing developments around the golf course. Let's zoom in. Let's do the old street view and let's go for a little bit of a look. And here we go. I mean, look, it's a lovely little area here. You've got a big, shopping center development here. There, a motel. What else? Let's exit street view and go along, the promenade. What's it called? Is it called the promenade? No, the Bay Road. Okay. It's normally the promenade everywhere I look. We'll have a look here. So you've got a public space and a park before the bay and nice little houses all along here. So it definitely is a little village. And they want to keep it a little village. They don't want any density, any other properties there, but why not? If you want to have affordable options, guys, well, maybe they don't. They want to keep the value of their properties. That could be it. That could be the real reason behind it. And everything else is just a smoke screen. Look, we've got a higher building here. Let's have a look. So here we go. You've got, 1, 2, 3, 4 stories. A 4-story building. And it's not really having that big an impact on the area. You're still at quite a human scale there. It's only when it gets really high, like 20, 30 stories, at this scale, 5 to 10 stories, probably 6 or 7, you still have the human scale to it. You can still hear people and see people as they're activating the building at the space there. There's still a level of observation from the street level from these apartment buildings here. So this is generally a good scale that can be designed and still be quite comfortable. If you have a look at the European cities, I mean, you know what? Let's go to a European city. We can do that now. Berlin, Germany. Let's have a look there. Flying right over the world to Berlin. Okay, let's zoom in here. Oh, there we go. This takes me right back to my uni days. So, let's just jump in. We'll jump in around here, north of Parliament. Here, where is it? We'll have a look. We've got housing here or apartments. But you've got a different scale. I mean, look at the scale of the buildings here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories. 5 stories, 3 stories. You can see, they've got the little flower pots here. And a lot of the, active streets, a lot of the German buildings or the Berlin buildings, they've got a courtyard configuration. Can you see here? You've got the street And then you've got a courtyard and internal space. So often you can go through into these spaces here, and they're used by all the occupants there. When I was last in Berlin, it was during the summer, so there were people barbecuing in these spaces. You'd have, some of these would be commercial, some of them would be residential. You've got people living on the top here. So you can design livable, habitable spaces. This is more commercial here. At this scale, everyone. It's not the end of the world. This is giving you much greater density than what we have in Australia. And people are just balking at it. One thing I like is they've got the solid street fronts here. As in Australia, you'll always be going in and out, in and out. Let's go a bit further. We'll have a look here into some more residential areas. You can see what really makes it is the trees, the foliage. And there's a really good book, if you haven't read it, Great Streets. You know what? Let me just type that in. Great Streets. There it is, by Jacobs. And I'd recommend it. Even just go borrow it at the books library and have a read of it. Can we look inside it? No, we can't. Okay, well, that's the book by Alan B. Jacobs. It's fantastic. Just detailing a whole lot of sections through streets. But that's what makes this space so lovely. And they've got the opportunity for that in other parts of the world too. And here in Australia, this is what we should look at. A human scale for the height of the building, built right up to the boundary, and looking at internal usable space. But anyway, let's jump back and look at this one, because they want to limit building heights. Okay, so let's see. Highrise Hell No. So, Greg Milner says the majority of residents don't want high-rise buildings in Dunsborough. Hundreds of residents in the small tourist town of Dunsborough in WA's southwest have called for an end to local high-rise development. Several five-story is not high-rise. You still have there's still a human scale to that type of building. It's not high-rise. They're already planned. The local council recently passed new laws to prevent further high-rise buildings. These are five-story buildings. They're not high-rise. But WA's planning minister has the final say on the new local height restriction laws. More than 500 people turned up to a rally at the weekend to call on planning minister Rita Safiotti to approve a new local planning scheme that would prevent further 5- or 6-story buildings in the coastal town. Several high-rise retail and housing projects are being developed in the town after receiving initial approval from the local council. To prevent further applications, okay, could this be, I'm just completely making this up here. Okay, this is just complete bullshit. How do we know that, the people who had that land cashed out, made big money, and now they want to limit other people getting that opportunity? Once you can develop to a greater density, your property's worth more, significantly more. Anyway, they want to prevent further applications. The city of Bustleton has now approved a planning amendment that limits building heights to 3 stories in the Dunsborough town centre. But the amendment needs final approval from the WA Planning Commission and Miss Safiotti before it can be gazetted. This is funny. I remember working on projects for the Queensland government, and I think it was an education project, and it was actually never gazetted. The site was never gazetted. So it was funny, because they can get around the government gets around all the local planning requirements. They pay attention to them as much as possible, but, there you go. Not in my backyard, right there. So the developments could ruin the coastal feel. At the rally, locals carried placards emblazoned with slogans such as "Highrise Hell No," "Fix this mess, yes, Minister." Greg Milner for the Dunsborough Yallingup Chamber of Commerce said the chamber was calling on the government to listen to residents' concerns. Locals fear Dunsborough will be overrun by six-story multi-million-dollar apartment blocks, he said. Mr. Milner said developments over 3 stories could change the popular tourist town. Yeah, it could bring more money to the town. It could bring more people. So rather than having, 2 houses, you've now got, or even 1 house, probably 2 blocks, you've got 6. So rather than 2 families visiting at a time, you've got 6 families visiting at a time. That's more money in the local community, more money being spent in your town, more opportunity for the people that live there and the local wider community. Tourists spend nearly $1 billion a year in this area, and they visit here because of the ambience of the small coastal village that Dunsborough is, he said. Turn it into rows and rows of apartments is hardly what visitors come down here for. You'll see, they'll still come down. Okay, come on. The city of Bustleton Mayor, Grant Henley, said the once small town was now servicing around 10,000 people, which could triple during peak tourist seasons. Isn't that good? Isn't that what we want? You've got tourist areas in Queensland that were going bankrupt during all of the bloody lockdown mania. They would have loved this type of attention and population growth there and people turning up to use it. Remember all the articles about the businesses going under? I remember the one about the jet ski business. He said while some height and density in the town centre was required, it was important to listen to the community. We have seen that in other communities throughout Australia, like Byron Bay, where they've set height limits which recognise the need for development, but also respect the place and the entity where it is built, he said. Yeah, and we have seen, and I've got videos about it, the local councils bitching and moaning and blaming the federal government because they have got a housing affordability problem and the locals can't even afford to live in these trendy hipster bullshit towns anymore. Remember that one? It was the Northern Rivers. A family was living in the car and bitching and moaning and complaining. But it's the councils who want to keep it special and unique. Okay, so you're going to price people out of your town. Am I the only one that sees this? This is the NIMBY paradox, isn't it? I wonder how many of these people, probably green voting environmentalists, who are very concerned about house prices. It should be more affordable. We should build more social housing. Oh, I'd love to see the government build some social housing there where they don't give a shit about the local planning requirements. They'll designate the site and gazette it as a public need. And then boom, you'll get 6 stories of government housing, all bloody concrete for maintenance efficiency. Oh boy, and you can't even have any plants to drop mangoes or anything like that. No, that creates a potential mess. It's very strict and very regulated. So, yeah. Okay. Anyway, no, I'm sure they're all 100%, ultra right wing, super conservative. Well, no, they're not. They're development loving. They probably love development in someone else's area. I mean, this is the thing, guys. You either want affordable housing or you don't. Okay. If you are happy with the status quo, with expensive housing, I know of investors that will intentionally vote for Greens because they know that party will push and pressure to limit development and it'll keep their investment properties more valuable. You got to be strategic, eh? So, approved buildings struck an appropriate balance. In December, government planners gave the green light to a 5-story development on Dunbay Road in Dunsborough. Okay, so let's have a look, see if that's the one we're looking at. Dunbay Road, Dunsborough, WA. Remember when Google Earth was new? I remember having to get aerial images for uni. When I was a student, we'd have to buy them from the government. Okay. So Dunbay Road, where's it go? So along here. Does it go all the way? So is it one of these? Let's go along the road and see. Let's see. Is it this one? It could be this one here, this new development. What that looks like 5 stories. There you go. See. Look at come on. Perkins are doing it. Good. Just look at the images here. Look at the scale of it. How it's broken up. And it's different to what we saw in Berlin, isn't it? You couldn't get away with building what they've done over there. You know, really defining the street edge, internalizing a private space, using the buildings as an acoustic buffer to this zone out here. But yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. So I'm assuming this is the building, but we'll have a look what else there is. I mean, this is on the end of the street. You've got a petrol station across the road, roundabout there. That's going to have no amenity issues for anyone in the area at all. Okay? Whoever is whinging and complaining. I mean, okay, you got commercial, an Empire furniture store. What do we have here? Yeah, there you go. You got the shops there. No eaves on any of those. Oh yeah, down there, but you're going to get thermal load there from the north. Oh well. That's what air conditioners are for. Yeah, okay, that's a big setback. The car park in front. That looks more ugly than all the five-story buildings, doesn't it? All of that. Notice how in the example we looked at in Europe, the treescape was much nicer. You know, the streetscape had been designed much nicer. This here's shit, isn't it? You just have parking, a light, nothing, no foliage here. They should really work up this area here to get increased foliage along it. They've got a bit here. They're starting it. But they should honestly lose a few car parks and get a few more larger defined trees going there. And that'll change the whole space. And there you got the Coles there and the shopping centre there. What else? Shops. There's probably another development going up there. Wouldn't be surprised. Huge car park again. Nothing stopping you building on that. More shops here. So this is like the main street of the town. So I'm assuming that's the one there. Let's check over here. There you go. You got a few stories. Is that a hotel? Dunbase Centre. Commercial. Yeah, so the commercial precinct. And I think if we go a bit further, we'll hit some residential. Yeah, they need to get some, more planting. But there you go. You're going to a bit more residential, a bit higher. High density there. Bit of commercial. Caravan on the side. Yeah. So let's jump back to the article. I mean, in approving the application, the Regional Joint Development Assessment Panel said the building had an appropriate balance of future character and existing content. It noted that while local council was in the process of changing height restrictions, it had not been adopted and is only in the process of being developed. Mr. Wilner said the community had spoken loud and clear and it was time for them to be listened to. 95% of this community wants Dunsborough to maintain its coastal village atmosphere, he said. A spokesman for Miss Sophie Otti said it would not be appropriate to comment on the matter at this stage. It was in the approval process. So there we go, guys. Well, let's have a bit of a talk about this one. I mean, there you go. I mean, this is NIMBYism right here. Sure, it's a holiday retreat, but it's going to mean that the option to buy a holiday house, nice and cheap, is disappearing. You know, maybe renting out an apartment as an Airbnb if you wanted to go there with the family, just to enjoy that space. It's not going to be there now. They want to keep it their own little way, their own little niche way. Australia, guys. Australia, this is another reason why when people are saying property's going to crash, just wait and see. Wait and see. I've been sitting on the sidelines in my garage with piles of silver and I don't know, gold, waiting for the property correction to happen. I mean, you're fighting a lot of forces, guys. You're fighting the government. You're fighting the NIMBY lobby. And this is all political parties are full of NIMBYs, okay? Once you become a property owner, I think it's a legal requirement to become a NIMBY. Even though allowing this development in their community would even increase the value of their properties. They don't care. They just don't want other people there. So, I mean, think about it. That could be someone moving from Perth, wanting to retire there. You know, a couple that had gotten rid of the kids finally and wanted to just downside, one little apartment, you know, near the water. They went there for holidays when they were younger, but you know, that's not going to exist. That option won't be there. So then they have to spend a lot more on a house there that they're not going to need or use. Or what'll happen is they'll stay in their old residence. They won't downsize, and then it's an opportunity for a growing family missing. This is why we need this, guys. Australia is a growing country. We're not stalling. NIMBYism needs to end. But it's a hopeless battle. It's hopeless, isn't it? It's never going to end. Never. You'll see all the millennials will all start inheriting property soon, and then boom, all the left-wing socialist policies they're asking for will instantly disappear. I bet you. Bet you. Anyway, take care, everyone. Have a great night. Check out HeiseBem and Heise Does for other content I create. And if you're a fan and want to support us, you can on YouTube or Patreon, using our referral links, buying our pocket squares, or calling us if you need an architect. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Wait, I'm still here. See you later, guys. This is when I do the outro thing. Now I've got to plan my next video. What one should I do it on? I've got a pre-record one tomorrow. I've got a defects inspection. So I'll record that after this and we'll do the live stream or the premiere tonight. Take care, guys.